pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that all members are present this evening. We don't have any public attendance. At this point, conduct a public hearing to discuss proposed 2025-2026 school calendar.
Good evening, and I wanted to share with everyone during this hearing the process of what goes into developing a calendar for the counties. And I'm sharing with the board members the actual handbook that determines the exact state guidelines that we have to go by. And if you look at one of the last pages of the handbook, you'll see there's actually a checklist. I think it's like page 19, but it's numbered incorrectly. It's a checklist, and those are just the highlights of what some of that book contains. It will tell you those things that we are held accountable for making sure that we have included in the calendar and how that works. And you can see it has a lot to do with we have to submit the calendar through this program that's offered through WEVIS. We get a form that looks something like this that we fill out, that WEVIS will only let you do certain things, and if you're wrong, it won't let you build a calendar. And that's just the basic process from the state. Now, let me show you some of the statewide calendars. If you look up here, you can, on the first page of the West Virginia Department of Education, you can see every county in the state of West Virginia and when their opening and closing dates are. That's available for anybody to see. The vast majorities kind of run within a few dates of ours. You have, as you're all the way to the bottom, you have one county that does the year-round school, Kanawha County. And you see they do the year-round school. So, but those are all 55 counties, everybody's start date and end date. So if you want to see that, scroll back up. What makes it more complicated with us, for instance, is that our calendar is joined with Barber and Upshur because of Fred Everly Technical Center. So we're trying to make 3 counties go together that still lets the Fred Everly students complete all their hours. So if you look at how it starts is we have a tri-county or multi-county calendar committee. And those people are Tim DeRico, he's a director in Upshur County. Michelle Fleming, she's a director in Barber County. I'm a director in Lewis County. We also connect with Gilmer County, so Joe Frazier from Gilmer County also is involved at the meeting at times. And Rebecca Bowers-Call, and she is the director of the Fred Everly Technical Center. So she has a lot of input too about what we're trying to get done. The counties work together to review on past feedback. We got a lot of positive feedback from teachers that last year we did the semester ending at Christmas time. And the students and the teachers really seemed to appreciate the semester ending then because it was a clear definition, and those older kids, when they came back, they weren't trying to remember. They'd already had their tests finished right up before Christmas. So that was one of the things that we changed. at professional meeting dates. Sometimes we schedule speakers during the school year that we can do a year in advance, and they're pretty expensive to get in here. So sometimes we try to look at, sometimes counties share those presenters as well. We haven't had much of that, but that's some of the things the other counties kind of look at. When we meet as the tri-county or the county, multi-county calendar committee, we're trying to actually think of start dates and end dates and the big breaks. Because what we're trying to do is make sure that our students and the other county students don't lose those days around holidays. And in the beginning of the school year and at the end of the school year, it's quite the same way. That's where you start to lose and take those days. The Lewis County Calendar Committee, the members of the committee at this time are Alexandra Moran, Tammy Latta, Alan Heath, Kim Freeland, Marlena Reed, Janet Sabatelli, and Kristen Benedum. And we did try to get replacements if they were no longer available. Now, as a county, I bring back to them what this multi-county has been talking about. So when you're looking at the multi-county, you're still trying to say, we don't need to do what Upshur County does if they have Strawberry Festival, correct? So if they have a specific day off for Strawberry Festival, that's a day that we can play with. I'm not worried about their Strawberry Festival, right? So we try to look at everything from our county, what might be needed. Those are training days, and when are you gonna have teachers there where that we can do professional training, because it's really hard to get professional training days in, and we have those days set up for that purpose. Now, our calendar committee, they really wanted us to move one of those PL days, and it made perfect sense. So we moved a couple days as they had asked. There was something else. Oh, we looked at the beginning of school year, because most teachers were complaining because if we start the calendar with the kids going a whole week, the kids are kind of wore out by the end of that first week, and so are sometimes the teachers. So what they'd asked is, can we have a short week when we start out the school year so that we can give kids time to acclimate, us figure out what we're doing, and keep going. But as I said, we really try to look at those start and end dates based at that multi-calendar committee. There's nothing to say that Lewis County Schools has to follow the county's thing. We have in the past veered off, and that was even while I was here, and when we did that, we had a lot of complaints because of the Fred Everly students being disadvantaged, because the other kids would be at Fred Everly getting their hours, and then our students were having to make up hours. So that became an issue. So just so you understand that process. So we came up with a couple of samples based on what the multiple counties had. We come up with like 4 or 5 that are basically the same with little things to move around on them. And then you meet locally and we tweak it the best we can. And honestly, there's not huge amounts of changes that we can make unless we completely go off. You know, we go away and say, we're not going to worry about the other schools, you know, the other schools in Tri-County. And I can tell you that there are counties that do that are standalone. And if I even ask at the end of our meeting of the calendar committee this year, we all were meeting and it was a teams meeting, and I said, okay, because people always bring up, can we do the Labor Day start later? You see what I'm saying? They bring that up to me. We get that a lot. And in that process, I said, well, do you want to start all over? And we can try to come up with something like that, just knowing that our Fred Everly kids might not be, it might hurt us in some ways. And the calendar committee voted, no, this is the best for the kids. of Lewis County. So we voted on the 2 calendars that we would put out to the schools. So then when we put the 2 samples out to the school, sample 1 and 2, number 1, which is the calendar we're looking at this evening, and it won by, you can see the margin in there, it was like 78% of the people that voted on this calendar number 2. So I just wanted to inform you of what went into the calendar, and I do believe that's the information I have. Do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. I noticed on your calendar committee, and this is just a suggestion, does that change every year, or is it the same people year to year?
What we've done in the past, some people are to try to stay in, like I know Alan Heath, for instance, he wants to always be on it every year. I have asked, and I have no problem with that, because sometimes we need the loudest voices being an impact on what we're doing. And so Alan Heath is on there. Sometimes I've asked the principals to nominate 1 teacher from every school, or 1 representative from the school. It doesn't have to be a teacher. So we have representatives for each school. Mr. Gissy mentioned to me that we should probably have a student involved, and I'm going to try to do that next year at his request, because I think that's a good idea.
What I was going to suggest is, I noticed, you figure if we had 1 on, like say, from the cooks, 1 on from the maintenance, 1 on from the bus drivers, the age, the different classifications, if maybe you would consider that.
Well, we can look into
And
that.
that way it'd be, each different classification would be
And I
represented.
understand that, and keep in mind, again, a good size of a team is probably no more than probably 10 people trying to do this when we're doing it on teams, because,
I see 7. Is there more than 7?
well, there's me that's counted in there, and there's also a couple of people from the Board of Education, not the Board of Education, but from the school system that did not come to those. I put the ones that we've spoken with this year.
And who are they?
I don't have them in front of me right now. I could try to, but we have 1 rep, like for instance, Kim Freeland couldn't find anybody at her school that wanted to do it. So Kim Freeland offered to be her school's representative.
Okay, well, all I was saying was, if you could get 1 from each classification, then, that would, to me, that's.
I think that's a great idea as well. I have no
Would be
problem.
fair, that way everybody would have a voice. So, just a suggestion.
No problem.
So you get together with the 5 folks that are on here, and you guys come up with
A skeleton, basically.
a couple options.
Yes, we come up with how can we make this work, and what start times is everybody looking at, and,
And we work with these folks because
Every
we
year.
partner with them.
yes, for Fred Everly.
For Gilmer too.
Well, Gilmer's added because we share a school with Gilmer.
That
So
means-
what happens is Joe Frazier, once we get a lot of our decisions made, Joe Frazier's from Gilmer, and Joe always comes in at the ends of the meeting because he wants to make sure what we're doing, because he's the bus and transportation person for Gilmer County. So he comes. Now, he doesn't vote on anything what we're doing, but like
But he coordinates a bus schedule for Leading Creek, so he.
Yes, exactly. So I always have him come, and I wouldn't even send out our samples until I'd spoken to Joe and had him look at it.
And Mr. Frazier also works with folks in Calhoun, because Gilmer and Calhoun share a technical center.
So it's a lot of people trying to balance.
And the majority, it looks like, just looking through it briefly, the majority of the state starts in mid-August, or,
Yes, if you
The
look
week
at all
after.
those, yes, and you're welcome to look at that. If you go to the West Virginia Department of Education, it's the front page, and you scroll down to where you see calendars. And it will show you, it'll let you see every county's on that page.
somewhere a little later, I see a 27 and a 22.
We have,
Yeah, The only reason that I ask, and I didn't ask my kids or my wife or anything, so they might have a different opinion, but, you know, last summer, we were out of air conditioning in the gym, you know, in August, and school started, and there's some volleyball matches going on, and we literally had a referee get sick in there, so it just struck me, you know, my grandma used to tell me, you know, it's the dog days of August, it's so hot, but we're trying to get done also before Memorial
Yeah,
Day.
people want out. If I go much into June, I start getting lots of complaints about when we're leaving.
Yeah, so it's not like June 6th or 8th when, I mean, when we were in school, we're first full week of June, right, Johnny?
What are you looking at me for? You think I'm younger? than
Because
you?
you're the same, about almost as old as I am. So that was my only concern and complaint, because I don't know about these other counties, but you know, the biggest report we get every 2 weeks is from Mr. Dumont. And it's some issue with a HVAC system or something. And that was my biggest concern with starting in the heat of the summer. Other than that, I appreciate how well prepared you are, and I appreciate that presentation to know how it works. I know it's thankless. I was in the legislature, I was on a school calendar committee, and it might have been I was a subcommittee chair actually, and it might have been the worst thing that I ever experienced in my life.
It's
Talking
very
about it
difficult.
statewide. So I appreciate how prepared you are.
I've got a couple of questions. How often do you meet with these multi-county people? How often during the year do you meet?
We meet starting after we get school started first, and probably like in November, December, we start meeting. And we usually meet about 3 or 4 times. We meet by teams, they're usually about an hour apiece. And everybody's popping up in their screen what their suggestions are. And then we'll say, and then you have to stew on it a little bit too, and you have to think about other things that come up. So we whittle it all down, and everybody genuinely, it takes us even a while to get a consensus, you know? So it takes a while for us to get a consensus as to what are those big skeleton dates that we're trying to build into for our students that share with other counties.
Everybody wants to start late and quit early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. How often do you meet with your calendar committee here?
Usually 2 or 3 times.
And you get good feedback from them?
Yes, sometimes, you know, we feel like we don't have a whole lot to do. I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why we look at it, and so this time they really wanted us to move a PL day to this. It was on a Wednesday, we moved it to closer to a weekend. So we tried to do some of those things that they'd asked for. And we did, we incorporated everything that we could, and I, like I said, I was willing to, do you want to throw it all out and try to do one that's, because I have one particular member that's really important to them, and I understand why. But as a consensus, we all as a committee decided the same thing.
I don't mean to interrupt, Johnny. You have one particular member on the
On the
calendar committee in Lewis
yes,
County
yes.
that wants to do something differently.
That really wanted me to look at a later start date due to air conditioning and those kinds of
Just like
things
what
that
I
you've
was
already
talking
mentioned.
about. Yeah, nobody said that to me, so that's 2.
Ma'am, do you, I think what you said was spot on relevant to we need to be cohesive with our technical center over there. But my question is, would there be any appetite, should the majority of staff and students to a degree, to start a little bit later? Do you think the appetite for our neighboring counties to modify that, do you think that exists, or unknown?
Every year we talk about it, but in that handbook, you're trying to please everybody, like you know. And one of the things you have to do is balance semesters. So if you're trying to get semester to end before Christmas, the state requires us to have so many days before mid-year and so many days after. And they actually, that's one of the things they check. Have you got 89 so many days of instruction this half of the year and so many days of instruction? So when we start to look at that and people are looking toward what's best grading-wise, everybody kind of leans toward this. That's why most counties do.
I see.
You know, because you're trying to balance those days. And I learn something new every year.
Sure.
you know, so.
Since you said that, how often does the state change the rules on you in the middle of the game, so to speak? Do they change it often in this?
They update this policy manual every year, but the last couple of years, we've not had any major changes. No, not to my knowledge. I mean, sometimes they change things regarding to PL days or to faculty sentence, but pretty much so the last couple of years, I've not had any changes. I'm assuming they just printed this out and put a different date on it.
The other three that's on your committee, could you let me know who them is?
Sure.
I'm just curious.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your work. I have nothing else.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to personnel and student achievement recognitions. Dr. Stewart.
Mrs. Radcliffe is here to recognize the students from Robert L. Bland Middle School.
I'd like to say that the best part of a board meeting is recognizing the kids.
That's the truth.
It really is.
All right. Good evening. We are here this evening to, first off, I'd like to send Mr. Loudon's sincere apologies. He was unable to be here tonight. He does have kids of his own, and he is currently coaching them. And so tonight he was playing coach and dad, so he was unable to be here, but we're going to go ahead and I'm going to recognize his amazing musicians that went and represented us at the state level this year. We're going to go ahead and start with All-State Children's Choir. This All-State Children's Choir is for only 6th grade students in the middle school area. We also have elementary school students as well, but 6th grade is where it tops out for the children's choir. And we had 2 representatives who represented Robert L. Bland Middle School in the children's choir this year. I believe they were in Morgantown, I believe in December, if I remember correctly. And that is Phi Duncan and Elias Simmons. Okay, we're going to look this way. There's several people who want to get pictures.
Are they going to sing for us?
I don't know if I can coerce. Yeah, neither one of them. They're both saying. And I'd like to also say that with these two as well, just giving a little aside to the well-roundedness of our students, we had the first place, I'll try to remember here. First place math field day, and then second place math field day, and then first place spelling bee, and second place spelling bee. So these two will be running neck and neck throughout their entire secondary career. But a lot to be said for the well-roundedness of our students. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start with our middle school choir. Our middle school choir then went down to Charleston to represent us. And there are a few that I'm going to read first, and then there are a couple that did double duty. Both got into the middle school choir and the middle school all-state band. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our middle school choir singers, and that is Georgia Carpenter. Kathleen Cantrell. Kai Ryan. And then we had 2 that represented us on both the choir and the band. Channing Reinhardt. Channing was not just in the all-state band or choir, but in the all-state band, you actually auditioned for chairs. Channing Reinhardt was the first chair French horn player in the state of West Virginia for middle school. We also have Andrew Taylor, who both placed in the choir and the all-state band as well. And Andrew was the 6th chair French horn player in the state of West Virginia. And then we have Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell was the third chair tuba in the state of West Virginia. And then we have Jack Helmick. I know that Jack, I will never forget Mr. Loudon telling us about his audition piece, because the drummers, they videotape themselves drumming. And obviously when you're doing drums, you don't have a big set of drums at home. Blessed parents I was a tuba mom. Drums, I was hoping for no drums and ended up with a tuba. So I don't know if I won or not. But an absolute perfectionist. So he's sitting there, eye of the tiger, trying to, make it. Percussion's tough, guys. Percussion's tough. 5th chair percussion in the state of West Virginia. I'm going to go ahead and look over towards. Thank you guys so much.
Great.
The next group that we're going to represent that we're going to present awards to are a group of 6 young ladies and gentlemen from the 8th grade that went and had the opportunity at the middle of March, it was March 10th through the 12th, to go down and participate in Youth in Government. Youth in Government is an absolutely incredible program that the 8th grade students get to do. 8th graders get to learn about the operation of state government. They get the opportunity to strengthen their understanding of the 3 branches, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. They get to better understand the state's constitution and what it means to be a responsible citizen of the state of West Virginia. The students get the opportunity to participate in all sorts of different activities. I would say that many of them will tell you that night court is probably one of their absolute favorite things that they get to do. They get the opportunity, and in Kanawha County, night court can be interesting. Very interesting. And so they get that opportunity to spend 3 days. For many of them, it's the first time they'll ever get to stay away overnight for 3 days, away from their parents, and just get to hang out at the embassy, get the opportunity to feel a little bit of freedom, and get to learn about our beautiful and amazing state of West Virginia. And so I'm going to recognize these ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Fisher was unable to be here tonight because she's at the ball field with one of her 2 children. The other one's playing out here at Butchersville. The other one's playing over in Buchanan. So she was unable to be here tonight, but I have the pleasure of recognizing Camden Holden. Grayson Hoffman. Marcus Reed. Carly Singleton. Kate Simmons. And last but not least, Megan Lane. They weren't that bad. That's not what his mother was saying. Anybody else? Everybody got pictures? So I'll make them stand here forever until you guys get pictures. Thank you guys so much.
Mrs. Ratcliffe, I did get to see them all in the state capitol for you parents. So they were walking the halls just like I was. I saw them actually outside the Senate chamber. I think you'll remember that. I was doing as little as I could get by with, typing on my computer.
All right, and last but not least, Mr. Moore was unable to be here this evening, but we wanted to go ahead and recognize our students from his group, his exceptional group of 7th graders, who had the opportunity to, back in the cold parts of the winter, they decided to create a drunk driving PSA that ended up, and many of you probably already seen the articles in the newspaper about the fact that the state government came down last week and recognized them for their absolutely amazing achievement. They worked extremely hard, put together this PSA, although Mr. Moore had very little idea of how to do it, And I was like, well, sure, I'll do it. I was like, hey, I got a crazy idea. They sent this. Why don't we do it? And he's like, okay, I think I can figure this out. And he ran with it. And boy, did they ever figure it out. The only middle school in the state of West Virginia who was awarded. And they were awarded 5th in the state out of all of the, 50? Come on, help me here, Leighton, because you know. How many was there? 50, 51? 51 schools that, or 51 entries, and we were 5th in the state. So, obviously Mr. Moore is not here, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up the head of this whole organization, the head of this whole craziness, and give him the opportunity if he'd like to say a little something. Oh, right on the spot, man. Right on the spot. Come on up, Mr. Cassidy. Would you like to say a few things about what you guys did before we start?
No, not really. I'm just glad we had the opportunity to do this, and I'm glad Mr. Moore stuck through it and did this with us.
And your plan next year is to get what?
First place.
First place. That's what I thought. First place. Now, with many of these, we have several that are athletes that are on the softball field tonight or the baseball field. So please know that they are, they were not able to be here. We have Andy Joe Darby, who was a part of the group. We have Gentry Harris, who was a part of the group. Brennan Hitt. Easton Sloan. Kaylee Chips. Jonna Cunningham. Kennedy Church. Madison Varner. Wesley Sherrard. And Zaylee Wack. So on top of getting recognized, they got beautiful certificates from the State Department, as well as the group earned $750 for their 5th place prize. And they have already got some great ideas of how they plan on spending that, but they did an exceptional job and really represented us well. And to be quite honest with you, if you look at Point Pleasant's video and ours, I'm just saying that those of us who watched it in the gym, we all know.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful. Both of them had beautiful messages, and theirs really was the idea of what was it? That one moment in time could completely ruin your entire life. One poor decision.
One choice, one decision can ruin your entire life.
That's a profound thing to think about as a 7th grader, because all of these kids were 7th graders, and we've got one more year with them. And I think if this is our future, it's looking awful bright. I definitely want to make sure to also give a shout out to all of the emergency responders that did such a beautiful job with these kids. They had everybody they had city police officers there, EMS were there, the fire department was there, the sheriff's department was there, all participating in this and helping these guys create the video that they did. And they actually came down, representatives from all of them were there at the meeting that we had with the State Department, with our assembly on Thursday, to be able to be represented as well. And they were given certificates, but they did a beautiful job. And as I told them there, and I'll say it again on public record, it is a testament. It is a testament to the beauty of Lewis County that so many people from the community are willing to come together because these young kids had an idea. They put the idea together, and it truly is. There's not a whole lot of places in the state, a lot of places I've been, that would really stop everything to close off a street and be able to do this type of activity with these kids, and do it because they were excited about it and wanted to know what more they could do. And that just speaks volumes for how much Lewis County shows up for each other, and they really did. And so that was a beautiful thing to see. But thank you so much, and I will hand this off to my amazing BCA teacher so that he can go ahead and recognize a few of his students as well.
permission to approach the bench. Good evening, friends. My name is Thomas Akers. I'm the business education teacher at the middle school. And one of the courses that I teach is Business Computer Applications 1. So several of our 8th graders have the opportunity to take that course in 8th grade. It is a year-long course, so they have to tough it out with me for an entire year in middle school. And they have a chance to earn a high school credit from it. And we also do testing from Microsoft Office. And so this evening I have the honor of recognizing 30 of our students who have earned the Microsoft Office Specialist Associate Certification, which means that they have passed 3 Microsoft Office certification exams, so Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And these are 8th graders that are accomplishing this. So lots of awesome students that we want to recognize real quick. I will try not to talk long. Do you guys all have your speeches ready? I'm kidding. Braden Blake. London Borum. And again, a lot of these are either on the field or probably at home studying Microsoft Office. So, Landry Koger. Kyle Goodwin. Cora Hawkins. Noah Heater. Madison Hefner. Jack Helmick. Taylor Henline. Shelby Heinzman. Grayson Hoffman. Camden Holden. Xander Kincaid. Jacob Kasak. Brianna Lewis. Abigail Marlowe. Milani Mayo. Carly Metz. Zephin Metz. Brooklyn Novak. Riley Palmer. Paige Powers. Marcus Reed. Gavin Rowe Riddle. Howard Riffle. Landon Roan. Carly Singleton. Abby Snyder. Madison Toothman. And Paisley Worthington. And if I may share one more thing. So they do a fall and spring competition for Microsoft Office where students compete against, so it's middle school, high school, and college-age students. They do a fall competition and a spring for the Microsoft certification exams. And we were very fortunate that in the fall qualifier for PowerPoint, one of our own, Abigail Marlowe, placed 4th in the state of West Virginia for PowerPoint. And that same student, Abigail Marlowe, placed 1st in the state of West Virginia for Microsoft Word with a perfect score. So she will have the opportunity. She'll be traveling in June to Dallas, Texas to compete in the national championship against the winners from the other states in the United States. So very awesome honor. She's worked really hard. And all these students up here and the ones that are not here, they've worked really, really hard putting up with me for a whole school year. So let's give it up for these students.
You all are welcome to stay, but it's probably not going to be as exciting. If you all want to leave, you're not going to fit me one bit. See,
I have you in homeroom. Did I have you in homeroom?
me?
Yeah. Oh, okay, you didn't go to school here. Okay, I thought maybe you did. Okay. Good job. He looked familiar. Because I always had C. Camperty, right? Surely the name Camperty. I thought he looked familiar.
He did. What's that?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it does.
Well, that didn't beat out. Yeah. Now we look at the doom and gloom of God. The doom and gloom of crap.
All right. Welcome. Moving on to academics.
So I provided at your seat a couple of pieces of information for you. The top half of the stack belongs to me, the bottom half of the stack belongs to Ms. Richards, and she'll get to that here in a little bit. On the very top, I provided you some benchmark data from the last benchmark that was taken in all of our schools. I gave you reading and math by school, and then I gave you reading and math by grade level. And then I gave you their projections based on if they achieve typical growth, about what our percentage would be, and if they achieve stretch growth, what our percentage would be come GSA time here in the next couple of months. So I wanted to make sure that you had that in hand. We are seeing some growth in several spots across the county, so I know our teachers and our students are working really hard. We still have some areas to work on, but we are showing some growth from the first benchmark. I also provided to you the data meeting feedback and homework that our principals were asked to complete, and so that's in there as well, so you can see what came of our last data meeting. We're getting ready to move into data meetings in the middle of May to be our last data meeting. And then the last piece of information that I provided to you was kind of a summary based on the survey that we sent out to our professional staff related to onboarding, incentives, recruitment, and so forth. So I tried to put those in a manner that was easy to read and understand. If they have a number beside of them in a parenthesis, that means that tells you how many times that response was given or something similar to that was given across all the surveys. So we ended up with close to about 50 responses, which I didn't think was too poor, considering we were asking them to actually input information rather than just pick a dot. So I wanted to make sure that you had all of that.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody have any questions relative to it? Okay, thank you. Consider and approve memorandum of understanding between Benchmark Conference Centers of West Virginia LLC, Stonewall Resort, and Lewis County BOE for the use of their facilities for middle school golf. The memorandum of understanding shall be effective for 1 year, March 2025 through March 2026, and shall automatically renew for a maximum of 5 additional 1-year terms unless one of the parties provide the other written notice of its intent not to renew at least 30 days prior to such renewal. Both parties can cancel the MOU within 30 days with 30 days written notice during MOU period. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve the Education Master Service Agreement between Lewis County Board of Education and Emergence Healthcare Staffing Incorporated for general education effective now through end of calendar year. Shane Nelson, RLBMS Social Studies teacher. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Now, what is this right here, this America's?
We have been unable to secure a social studies teacher for the middle school. The substitute that we had in there has developed some health issues and is not able to continue for the remainder of the year. So this allows us to staff that classroom for the remainder of the school year.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve WV SBA fiscal year 26 membership subscription fees in the tune of $3,457. Have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I will second. Any discussion?
How much has that went up since last year? Do you know? Or has it went up any?
I don't know the answer to that question. I can get it for you, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
And question, it's rather rhetorical, but in order for us to get what was once 7 hours of continual education, which will now be 12, the training must come through the WVSBA.
It is,
That's where I was headed with that, Adam. You know, if there's gonna be 12 hours, is this gonna go up, or is this already added into it, is what I was wondering?
this is what we've been quoted for fiscal year 26. So
Okay.
that price won't change for the upcoming year.
Okay.
I don't think that the training actually has to come from the SBA. I actually think we got something in our email box today from Kim Bozick where you can get other training approved. But I will tell you, and you know, I've had my reservations, but I watched what went on inside the Capitol and watched Mr. Brown and his folks in action, and saw the updates that we got. For me, it's worth that amount right there to have them keep up for us and send that stuff to us.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve memorandum of understanding between Jobs for Western graduates and the Lewis County Board of Education effective for the 2025 through 2027 school years. Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve agreement between Western Wesleyan College School of Nursing and the Lewis County Board of Education for nursing student clinical experience, April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026, and shall automatically renew for additional terms of 1 year each, unless one party provides the other party at least 4 months' notice in writing by 4 months prior to start of date month of the start date month to the end date month and year. Any discussion?
So move.
Oh, stand corrected. Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you.
So move.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve guaranteed energy savings contract between Energy Systems Group, ESG, and the Lewis County Board of Education pending legal review. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. School attendance update, Mr. Ratcliffe.
All right, I've brought handouts. Nice and brief and kind of punchy.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so where we're at right now, our attendance so far this school year, 91.89%, which, as you can see, I put the state's criteria of where we sit in their meters. We're right smack in the middle of Met goal. So as long as we continue with that, we'll be good. Of course, we want to see those numbers better, but for right now, we're good, and I can't imagine it'll change that much. Because, you know, it seems like sickness is on the way down, but the nicer weather's going to hurt us a little bit. So I broke it into two chunks. The first one is percentage of students without attendance issues, and those are students who are sitting in that top chunk of the all the kids in attendance. So last year, we were sitting at 28% of our students had zero attendance issues. That means that they had missed less than 5. This year we are setting at 33, so we've had a 5% improvement since last school year. Our county, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you look below that, you can see where I broke it down by schools and how each one is contributing. Now that number at the top in that chunk, that's our county number. Then we have our individual schools numbers below that. So of course, in this case, the higher the number, the better. We have a couple of schools who are really doing a great job right now, but nobody's, slacking off. Now we do have one that's fallen a little bit behind, but they've had some unique challenges this year, so trying to work our way through those. Now I'll go to our chronic absence rate. We're sitting at 28%, which is not great, but it is 4% better than it was last school year. Now below, I looked at all of the students that were chronically absent. It has dropped by 4% since last year, and again, you can see the contributions at the individual schools below. So in this one, if it's a negative number, that's what we're looking for. So again, it was a similar situation. We've got a couple of schools who are, moving along. We've only got one that's kind of fallen behind the rest.
Have you had to spend much time in the magistrate's office?
This year so far, I've filed against 10, and I've got a list about twice as long that I'm working my way through.
Okay.
And of course, we keep that for the most extreme of cases.
Sure. Anything else?
I think it's good. It's been a tough year. I know that my kid's been sick. He's sick again today. And it's been a tough season. So it's.
Well, and what we're seeing is, go ahead.
I was going to say, given that, are you able to differentiate on, say, a Matthew who missed an entire week because he was homesick, and others who are missing for other reasons?
As long as they turn in a note and we understand, we know that parents get 10 notes per year that are kind of no questions asked, kids sick, sick but not doctor sick or what have you. We do have some cases where we have some students that have gone beyond that, and that's something we keep in mind. Whenever a note comes into the school, if it's one that's done virtually, the parent can explain, what the situation is. And then for those that are sent in physically, those are all scanned. So if there is a question about whether or not this is a situation where they're abusing the system or kids just had a bad year for sickness, we'll be able to tell. And beyond that, we'll also, we reach out to our families. Each school makes phone calls to figure out, hey, what the situation is. It's more of a friendly outreach than it is, something punitive. So a lot of times we'll get the whole story that way as well.
So the notes kind of differentiate. no notes from a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now,
Now-
what about the, like if a bus don't run and they don't have a driver?
If
Does
a
that
bus- if
student
a-
get, if the parent don't have no way to bring them or whatnot, is that student counted absent since we're not running the bus?
They're,
Short substitute?
they're marked absent, but it's an excused absence. It's one of the very few things that the state says that, you know, it does not affect the student and it doesn't even affect us at the county level because they understand that that's a situation we're dealing with.
That doesn't go into these percentages?
No,
Is there a reason it don't go into percentages? I mean,
because it's one of those things that the state views as, you know, it's understandable, it's unavoidable. We can't expect kids to get here if we don't necessarily have a way to get them here. So they just don't count it against us.
I have one more. And I don't even know if this can be answered or not, but so we had a meeting in here with our legislative delegation. It was Mr. Burkhammer who told us that 50 or 60% of the kids in Lewis County are being raised by someone other than their parent, whether it's a grandparent or an aunt or uncle or a foster family. Is there a way that the school system can differentiate there, or am I?
Sort of, kind of. So what happens is if a student's placed officially into foster care, that's uploaded on the DHHR side and that'll show up in WEBIS for us. Now, sometimes we have what's called that foster or kinship, the kinship placement that's foster. A lot of times we're notified and that can also be marked for us to see, but sometimes that responsibility resides on the family just to let us know. One way that we find out the situations of individual families is whenever they fill out their information sheet at the beginning of the year, whether it's the information that they're providing there or the information they provide in the McKinney-Vento section, homeless, that explains, exactly what their living situation is. So a lot of times we can get a feel for what their unique, situation is from those sources.
So if you're having problems with a foster family, for instance,
Yeah.
are you required to report that to somebody at DHHR or otherwise?
We
or-
haven't really had a whole lot of those issues,
Okay.
thankfully.
Well, that's a good answer then. So
Yeah.
that's a good answer and enough. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and if that were a situation, a lot of times they're connected to, like, if they're in DHHR custody, they'd have a caseworker assigned to them. Now, I have had that. Or if we have students who are on parole, or I'm sorry, not parole, probation.
Right.
Very different things. If they're on probation, then, I'll notify Angie Mullen saying, hey, this is one of your kids. We're having some absence problems. If you could kind of, shake them a little bit. And that's usually pretty effective.
Thank you.
She's very persuasive.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? All right. Approve minutes from previous board meetings, March 28, 2025, March 24, 2025. A motion to approve.
Make a motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda. I'm going to run these all together, Dr. Stewart. Use of buildings and grounds. T. Schrader, West Virginia VFW, post 1976, use of Robert Bland Middle School parking lot for parade lineup, May 24, 2025, 11A to 1P. Sean Moran, Gary Stout, Dave Sturm, Jeff Hyde. LC girls basketball and NCWV Swish girls basketball use of Lewis County High School gym, April 8, 2025 through June 30, 2025, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 to 9P, when available. Out-of-state meeting request, Dr. Melinda J. Stewart, Coaching for Change, Atlanta, Georgia, May 5 through the 8th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Personnel agenda.
Missed one.
Who did I want to miss, Jimmy?
Did we do that out-of-state meeting with that?
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
My bad.
Turn that hearing aid on.
I have it on.
Personnel agenda. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to, if we could go into executive on C there, 1C.
I have a motion on the floor to
I'll
go to
second
executive. Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let the time reflect, or the notes reflect, it is 6:59. Going back to the personnel segment. Any further discussion? Or any revisions?
I'd like to change my motion and take item 1C separately.
Okay. I will second that motion. So there'll be 2 votes. We'll go through the entire personnel and then we'll handle that separately. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel minus 1C?
So move.
Dave already did that, and you seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Now, wait a minute, I'm sorry. I thought we was voting on thing, I'm sorry. Yeah,
So let's go.
I vote yay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Do I have a motion to approve personnel item 1C?
Make a motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. 1 dissenting vote.
Mr. President, for personnel season agenda, I would like to pull item 3A from that agenda.
Yes, ma'am. On to finance.
Wait, you have to vote on that.
Do I have a motion to approve the personnel season agenda
Minus 3A.
minus 3A?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so this is just basically routine.
All of the extracurriculars are primarily routine. Folks know that happens, and then once money comes through, then we typically will put some of those positions back. Most of the employees that have actually been riffed from their positions have already gotten other positions. The transfers, many of them have already applied and have moved into other homes.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion
Nay.
carries. 1 dissenting nay. My apologies, Mike.
All right.
On to finance. Now we're there. Consider and approve payroll and payment of bills, $975,370.67. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve the audit report for fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Adam,
Sir.
I will quickly. I took a pretty good look at it, and Mariah, Mindy, Dr. Stewart, looks like we're moving in the right direction. There were just a couple little findings. I understand that we have those fixed, at least getting there. So I appreciate your good work.
Ms. Richards, is there anything you want to share about the audit report?
Yeah, I did want to go over a couple of things in the audit report. So I just wanted to note that for 2024, the Board of Education received an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion you can get, so it's wonderful. This is the second year that we have had an unmodified opinion. And then I wanted to speak on the audit findings. The only 2 that we have remaining are regarding segregation of duties in the individual schools and the timeliness of the single audit submission. So the segregation of duties for the individual schools, we actually fixed that beginning of this fiscal year, the one we're in right now, 2025. So for the 2025 audit, that will be corrected completely. And then for the timeliness of the single audit submission, this audit got filed timely, so we got that corrected as well.
So we'll get 100 next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all I had to note about the audit report.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Appreciate it.
Facilities and construction updates.
Wait, you
We
need
got
to
to
vote.
vote on that.
Back going, I'm just trying to get too far ahead.
Something on TV?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Do I have a motion to approve?
You have one, and you've already seconded, so now you need to vote.
All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now you're up, Ryan, sorry.
Quick facility update. Jane Lou, the work done over spring break with the drain coming out of the kitchen cafeteria. I mean, I can show you pictures. The bottom was rotted completely out of it. They got back as far as they could without having to go any further right now. So once school gets out, they'll go back and replace, clear back to the drain inside. Roanoke, we got some company coming on Thursday to measure for tables out in the gym cafeteria area. Leading Creek will get the floor applicator machine ordered later this week. Peterson, bad weather delayed the parking. He's hoping for Thursday. He's having rock delivered there. Spoke to Ms. Fisher and Mr. Brand this morning about the mower situation out there. And he has something picked out, and we'll see if we can't get that worked out sooner rather than later. Bland, we hope to be doing the infrared scanning on the roof next week. We've had to schedule that out, and that's when it's scheduled for, so hopefully the weather cooperates so we can get up there and work on it. And then at the high school, hoping to get the one parking lot patch there before graduation gets here. Questions?
I did, someone mentioned to me today that the FRN, that, you know, that backflow thing you have to do every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got a notice in the mail or.
Yeah, they'll usually get that, and then we
About it.
collect them, and then Roger still comes back and does that for us, and whenever he comes, I just give him the whole
I
stack.
think they got the second notice or something, I don't know.
I don't know.
But they just wanted to remind that, and, okay.
I'll save my question for later. I see it on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Thanks, sir. Consider and approve McKinley Architecture and Engineering for architectural engineering design services for CEFP amendments. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Consider and approve recommendation to move forward with Pennington Plumbing and Heating for HVAC replacement and interior upgrades at Lewis County High School for a total of $8,498,000 pending SBA approval. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question right there, and I think I asked Ryan separately, but just so we approve this tonight, then the school building authority has to approve it. What would be an estimated timeline from start to finish, if you know?
I don't, I mean, I can reach out to them tomorrow and get that. I know they're still completing, like documents and things that they have to turn into the SBA and the architects. And some of that can't start until we approve it this evening and they move forward with their process. But I can check and find out tomorrow for you.
When do we start school? August 14th? That'd be a good date.
Okay, one other thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
Is there a clause in there, if they don't have it done by a certain date, then they pay a penalty? Do you know?
They do. There's a certain, end of the year, is that when it is? I forget, I'll check. There is something based on
Well,
the SBA.
before we've got into contractors taking jobs and they don't, get done when they're supposed to be, and most of these bids always have a clause in there. If they don't, then they pay a penalty for every day they're over what they said they'd have it done.
So because this is SBA money, they must meet the timelines of the SBA. So
Okay.
once the award is given, we only have so much time to get that completed, to get that project completed.
go.
So they have to meet the timelines of the
Okay.
SBA.
And
Okay.
If you remember, we had issues with some metal, getting metal at Bland, and we had to ask for an extension over there to get that. And they said that it was a pretty common problem, and they granted us the extension on that.
So is this the only action we take on it, or will there be a contract for us to approve as well? Or is this the only action we
No,
take?
this is the action
This
we
is
take.
it? We approve it, then the
The
rest of it's
SBA
with
sounds and
SBA?
everything else,
Okay.
correct? The
Thank you.
SBA's, okay.
Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Dr. Stewart?
So just a couple of things. Robert Upland Middle School received a 3-year grant for life skills training. So we've had that in the past, and that grant has been renewed. As you heard tonight, we celebrated some of our students in band and choir. For those of you that are not aware, our middle school and our high school bands competed this past weekend and both walked away with superior ratings, almost perfect scores in some instances, and have been asked by some judges to participate in the West Virginia Honor Band. So kudos to our band students and our band directors. We had a handful of students attend the West Virginia School Nutrition Association conference, and so they're going to come in May and share that experience with you so that you have some idea of what they did. Open enrollment is well underway, and I talked with Ms. Richards today, and we have a lot of staff who are signing up for vision insurance. So this would be my public service announcement that if you've not done so, that open enrollment is still open. And just a reminder to those on the board that the Trade Union Expo is this Thursday.
And that is something to see. I went down there before, and that is, if you haven't been there and can go, that is quite an operation down there. It really is.
Mr. Faley, you have any comments?
I do, Adam. Just a few. Mr. Bush was right. It's a good night when we get to recognize these students. And I tell you, if you want to see what Adam Loudon does with that middle school band, go on my Facebook page and watch a couple of those videos, because I have a son playing the drum, and I tell you what, they sound amazing. I mean, it's just fantastic what he does with those kids, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that since he were not able to be here tonight. I also appreciate everybody's patience with us, sitting through here, hearing our thoughts. This is a tough job. I got to say, it's a tough job. Listen, when I got elected 7-8 months ago, I didn't know how tough of a job this was. I really did not know how tough of a job this was. It's a tough job. A lot of the stuff that we have to deal with comes down from the state, comes down from the Department of Ed. Now the legislature, I think, unless the governor vetoes, it's going to approve all those rules from the Department of Ed. So there's so much stuff to keep up with and so much to do. So to my 4 colleagues and Dr. Stewart, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your patience listening to me. I'm still a rookie. They say it takes at least 2 years to learn what's going on. It may take me 4. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to, most of you know by now, I'd like to thank A.J. Burke Company, Snyder Construction, and Kelly Quarry and Hardman Trucking for graveling up at the high school. Took one of those days when they couldn't work anywhere else and kind of spiffed that up a little bit. And congratulations to Christy Turner and Jerry Warpa, the teacher and service personnel of the year at the Lewis County High School. Both work really hard and do a great job.
Mr. White?
Yeah, I'd like to follow up with what Dr. Stewart said about the band from the high school and the middle school. And I want to emphasize that because I think it takes some communication. It's a process. With Mr. Loudon, Mr. Heath, Andrea Heath, elementary school singing, and they're all working together. Look how we're all sticking together and look at the end product. And I think we can do this with a lot of other programs in our county if we just communicate a little better. But that's a model that I don't think's, I mean, that's almost a perfect model with the results. And I think kudos to them and what they do. If if they can make a Faley play music, they're pretty good. So, but other than that, thanks everybody for their patience. Again, tough job. We got a list today of the bills passed today for education, front and back, so y'all take a look at it. And with that, I've asked Dr. Stork before every meeting, are we getting any federal cuts yet? She says no, but who knows what's down the pike? Yeah, so, but other than that, thanks for all your patience.
Mr. Holden?
Yes, a couple of things. I'd also like to thank Hardman Trucking, Larry Snyder, Dawson Enterprise, and everybody had anything to do with that up there. It looked really nice up there. So, also, May the 20th at 7 p.m. at the West Virginia Wesleyan, I believe it's the gym.
The chapel. It's
Or the chapel, I'm sorry. At the chapel, they're having Fred Everly graduation at 7 p.m. over there. So it'll be over to West Virginia Wesleyan Chapel. Also, now this Mr. Akers that was up here, and the student going, the student going, are we paying for all their expenses?
I can answer that.
Sure.
Okay.
That's part of the CTE program. He's already turned in a requisition for that.
Okay, I think we should.
And we've already approved it and sent it on because I think that's a great.
Absolutely. Quite an accomplishment right there. Okay, and also, I don't know, several of you here probably know him, Steve Fencer, former bus driver, retired, had a bad accident, and there was a log rolled on him, and I haven't heard much more about it. The log, I reckon he was cutting it and it rolled over on him and hurt him pretty bad, so our prayers want to go out to him and wish him a speedy recovery. Steve, I worked with Steve for several years. He's a good man. So other than that, I have nothing else.
I echo my colleagues' sentiments. Audra, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you. And that's about all I have. Next meeting will be Wednesday, the 16th at 6 p.m. at this location. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.